Our third anniversary was meant to be a quiet celebration, a soft exhale after years of weathering life together, a small moment of gratitude for everything we had endured and still chosen. Jenna suggested we spend it at her parents' house, surrounded by family, warmth, and familiarity. Nothing extravagant, she had said, brushing her fingers against mine with a smile that felt like home. Just you, me, and the people who love us. I agreed, believing her completely. I liked her family. Her mother always treated me like a son, and her father, reserved but respectful, had grown into someone I admired. Her younger sister, married now, would be there too, along with her cousin Rachel, the loud, wine-fueled storyteller who lit up any room. The house felt like comfort that night. The scent of roast chicken and rosemary lingered in the air. Jenna had even made her signature cheesecake, the one I used to request on my birthdays. I remember looking around the table and feeling something rare, something real. 3 years. We'd made it. It hadn't always been easy, but love rarely is, and I thought we had grown stronger, not more distant. I was chatting with her father about the playoffs when my phone buzzed. I slipped it from my pocket and saw my manager's name lighting up the screen. It was unusual, especially for a Saturday evening. I excused myself politely and stepped out through the sliding glass doors onto the patio, my voice low as I answered. The evening air met me with a chill that cleared my mind. The call turned out to be nothing, a mix-up over a system update. I exhaled and turned toward the house to rejoin the laughter and warmth I had just left behind. And that's when everything changed. The large glass door framed the dining room like a photograph, and what I saw inside didn't feel real at first. Jenna was leaning in close to her cousin's husband, Mark. Her smile had shifted. It wasn't the carefree, open kind she gave freely. This was quieter, calculated, intimate. She reached toward him and gently brushed something off his shirt collar. He grinned and leaned in, saying something I couldn't hear. Then, slowly, almost like muscle memory, his hand slid onto her knee beneath the table. He didn't flinch. She didn't move. She didn't move. They just sat there, laughing, talking, like nothing about their proximity was wrong. But I knew what I was seeing. I recognized its stillness, that tension disguised as normalcy, the quiet flirtation masked behind innocent gestures. It wasn't just a hand on a knee. It was a secret blooming between them right there in front of everyone. My stomach dropped. My breath caught like a punch to the ribs. I stepped out of view, my heart pounding, legs shaky, a numbness creeping through my chest. How long? How many moments had I missed? Had I been loving a stranger? I walked back into the house a few minutes later and took my seat. I didn't say a word. I answered her mother's questions with polite smiles and vague updates. I pretended to sip my wine. I nodded when Rachel shared some wild tale about Paris. But inside, everything felt poisoned. The warmth of that room turned cold, like I was sitting in a play I no longer believed in. Every laugh stung. Every glance she gave someone else felt like a slap I had to pretend I didn't feel. That night, when we got home, Jenna hummed in the bathroom as she washed her face like nothing had happened. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor, her voice floating out from behind the door. Everything okay with work? Yeah, I replied, the lie brittle. Just a miscommunication. She climbed into bed, kissed my cheek, and whispered, "Tonight was really nice. Thank you for being so good with my family." I didn't say a word, just nodded. My mouth was dry. My throat ached. Something inside me had already snapped. But I wasn't ready, not yet. I needed time. So I waited. The next morning, I called in sick. I drove to a small cafe near the gym where Jenna and Mark sometimes trained. She'd mentioned it before in passing, never thinking I'd remember. That day, they walked in separately, 5 minutes apart. But they left together, laughing. Their arms brushed like it wasn't the first time. Their eyes locked like they didn't need to speak to understand. It was undeniable. I watched from my car, hands gripping the steering wheel so hard it hurt. 2 days later, I opened her iPad. I had never invaded her privacy before, but something in me was desperate for certainty. My hands trembled as I navigated through her messages. Ones she had forgotten were still synced. The messages were disguised under fake contact names, but the content was damning, carefully worded, meant to be discreet. But no amount of code could hide the truth. Last night was worth the risk. I can't stop thinking about how you looked in the kitchen. What if he finds out? Asterisk, he won't. He trusts you too much. Asterisk. I closed the tablet. I sat in silence for what felt like hours. That trust, that blind, stupid trust, had become a weapon against me. She didn't just cheat on me. She used my love as camouflage. I didn't explode. I didn't scream. I booked an appointment with a lawyer. I laid everything out. Photos, timestamps, texts. I told him everything calmly, like I was narrating someone else's tragedy. He looked at me with quiet sympathy. "We'll handle it," he said. "Let's get you out clean." I went home and played the part. Made dinner. Kissed her forehead. Pretended. But every word I said was rehearsed. Every movement calculated. I wasn't living in that house anymore. I was gathering evidence in a crime scene. A week later, I sat across from her at our kitchen table. I'd packed my heart up already. It was just the script left now. "I saw you," I said. She looked up, blinking. "What are you talking about?" "Our anniversary. I saw you with Mark." Her face lost all color. She opened her mouth, but I raised my hand. "Don't lie. I saw everything. And I've read the messages." The room fell silent. It stretched between us, heavy, suffocating. "I don't know what to say," she whispered. "Say nothing," I said flatly. "I've already filed." Her eyes brimmed with tears, but I felt nothing. No pity, no desire to soothe her. Whatever tether weed once shared had snapped so cleanly I could barely remember what it felt like. "Alex, I didn't mean for it to go this far." I laughed, a sharp, humorless sound. "You meant enough to bring him to your parents' dinner table. You meant enough to let his hand rest on your knee while I was just feet away. It was a mistake." "No," I said, eyes locked on hers. "A mistake is once. You made a choice. Again and again." She cried then, not the kind of crying you do when you're caught. This was deeper, maybe even real, but I didn't reach for her. That man was gone. She killed him. The divorce moved fast. Mark's wife filed too, after I showed her everything. The fallout was catastrophic. Jenna's family imploded. Her sister no longer speaks to her. Her parents were shattered, blindsided by the betrayal that happened right under their roof. It's been a year now. I rebuilt slowly. I went to therapy. I traveled. I learned to sit with the silence that used to scare me. And little by little, I became someone stronger, someone who sees with clearer eyes. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not bitter. But I'm different. I understand now that love doesn't always end in fire. Sometimes it erodes quietly while you smile across a dinner table, too distracted to notice the collapse happening behind the eyes of the one sitting beside you. Sometimes the truth doesn't arrive with confession. Sometimes it shows itself in a single glance through a glass door. And once it does, it never lets you look away again.